Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate. Welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. So I was asked to just jump right in here. There is ongoing question with how things work in spiritual land. At least from my perspective, I'm going to explain that to you. This is how it's been explained to me through channeling, and it's also been explained to me through readings of other people's channelings that I went and verified the information without fully understanding that I was verifying the information until I got there. That, oh, yeah, that is what I saw. It just helped to kind of solidify in my mind how it is that I'm working dimensionally in timelines with curses, with all kinds of issues with contracts, whether they be large global humanitarian contracts, my individual contractual agreements of working here on Earth, as well as contracts with families and institutions. I mean, when we have contracts in multiple places, we have contracts in multiple places, and not everybody has the same number of contracts. Not everybody has the same contracts with the same dynamics in them. Some of them are long-term. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my little thing here. Some of them are long-term contracts. Some of them are short-term. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. So the way that this was explained to me, and this is primarily really for light workers and starseeds, or people who are working in a very deep understanding of the Akashic records, the cosmic records, a lot of intelligence that's in multiverse, multi-dimensional understandings. So that's where we're starting with really being able to operate in a field of knowing that we've got multiple scenarios going on at different places in vibration while they're chronologically happening at the same time, or in the past have chronologically happened at the same time. And everything is overlaying always. All dimensions are present at all times. So what part of my work is going back through timelines, right? And helping some of those timelines to unbind the energy. The closer that Earth beings experience their Earth reality and stay there without any kind of an ascension process, without any kind of spiritual growth, without any kind of spiritual awareness, it keeps that energy and that density of understanding really tied close to Earth. And that's where you'll find a lot of this, as was explained to me, this is where you find hauntings and not always malevolent. I'm not saying that. It's just that's where you will find that realm or that dimension, because the veil is so thin or gone that we're seeing that overlay more easily now. And anything that's either trapped or chooses to be looming, in those closer densities, or has work to be doing in those densities, or whatever other reason that they're, swirling around in the densities closest to Earth, we're starting to really be able to see them more, perceive them more, and interact with them more. And that can be either good or bad, relative, of course. It can either be a really serviceable or a not so serviceable, a positive or a negative. So any experience, understanding, reality, philosophy, anything that we have that would solve the problem of whatever we're doing are fixing, there's something that can make it worse. There's always going to be the ability to upscale or completely destroy or continue to destroy. That's really how it is. Energy doesn't sit still very long, and where there's stagnation, there's a great deal of pop the pimple pressure right behind it. So, it's like lancing the boil. And what do you do when you lance the boil? You've got to manage all of that and deal with it. So in my timeline work, that's what was explained to me, and how that was explained to me. And I went out into the woods one time, out into gosh, I don't remember where it was it was here in the in Colorado, having to do with the Rockies, but it was in an area that I've only been one time, and right at the moment I'm not even remembering. It was Wildcat Canyon, I think, and it's way north of where I live. I had not ever, as I said, been there and haven't been back, and got a little bit spooked out on my way there, because I could just feel like a lot of really shifty, weird stuff. I had a different car at the time that I didn't feel quite as secure in, and I was driving up the side of a mountain feeling really intimidated by a lot of factors, just as my own human being. And I kept, saying, why am I driven to go to this place? Because where I thought I was going to be stopping was back there, wasn't it? Where I missed it, did I? No, keep going. But I'm terrorized, I don't want to be driving up the side of this mountain. And that wasn't even Pikes Peak. I did that one too. Different way. But I mean, I was really feeling very overwhelmed with all of the chaos feeling stuff, and kept, come back here, come back here, come back here, and just do what you need to get up this mountain, and we'll let you know when to stop. And it was true. I did make it up. It was critical that I pay attention and stay very focused on, we're right here with you. There's a lot happening. You can feel a whole lot more going on than is actually, dangerous to you driving off the side of the mountain. It's not really related to that as much as it is you're just feeling the reason that you're here. The reason that you are called here is to do some work, and it's unpleasant. And so I drove, I parked, and at the time I didn't have my dog, so it's just me, and I was in wilderness, without really a whole lot of experience in Wilderness 101 the way that I would want, with satellite everything and, a heater and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I was as prepared as a person possibly could be. I was just feeling naked and vulnerable, and like, there's a whole lot here, and I feel I'm all by myself, and I was absolutely by myself. And no Wi-Fi service. So, but I was just asked, please stop. You do know that you have a safe way to get down from this experience. And, it's not like I was going to go and do something absurd, deep into the woods somewhere and continue on into the abyss. I was being given, here, look at where you are. There are no woods. This is wide open fields with rock formations. You're not likely to get lost. And you won't. We've got stuff we want you to do down there. Just go on with you. Just keep going, right? So, all right, we're coaching, and okay. And I walked, and as I walked, I came up and went, oh my God, it's still, even now, that it just shocked me. I've never seen rock formations like this anywhere, ever. And I've never seen them again in Colorado. Some that are similar, but that particular place, that opened up some sort of of wow. And I literally stopped. A lot of times whenever big presences of energies or stuff that I feel, very reverent of, a lot of times when something comes in like that, or there's a big awareness, it'll, send a jolt through my body. And I have a neurodivergent body, so it responds energetically and will kind of twitch. And I kind of stumbled and went, and felt that, oh, wow. And so I stopped and just was saying, thank you. This is amazing. What do I do? How do I best honor this? And I'd been asked to take a few things with me, some ashes from some Palo Santo and some other natural items that I'd picked up in another place where I'd been hiking, some pieces of moss and just different things that seem in that moment to be quite insignificant. And I don't ask questions anymore too much. At that level, just stick it in your pocket and go, because you're being slow. Okay, so I took those items that I had brought with me and placed them where I was asked to place them, and just sat down for a few minutes. And the way that the timeline work happens for me, typically, it's happened a few other ways, but typically what happens is when I'm going in to help clear some debt for a whole cluster of energy, or a whole group, a tribe, some sort of a larger physical group that used to be here, that suffered some sort of trauma, that suffered some sort of horrible fate, etc. Some of those they're not trapped close to earth because they can't ascend or aren't willing to ascend. It's that there's so much karmic debt there that we have a lot of ascended mastery working in those areas where there's a lot of karmic debts. For instance, in that area that was very much filled with some indigenous wrongdoings, really icky, that I didn't go verify. I didn't need to. I saw it and felt that and I know the history of this area, that yeah, that's completely plausible. I don't need to know all the deets exactly. I got them because I could see that unfolding in front of me, enough of it to know that, oh, this is in the timeline where you're being given the abuse, the overshadowing theme of, we're uprooting you, we're crushing you, we're moving you, we're destroying you, we are eliminating you as a possible blockage to what we want to do with this land and how we want to move forward. Wherever that is, whatever it is, at whatever level that it's stuck, that's where that work happens, is going in and doing very high level work to understand the energy as it's presenting, see what's in front of me, and know that, oh, it's me as the human being. Ascended masters can work really well on the planet. However, we need to have agents, if you will. We need to have operatives on the ground that, can actually help transmute the energy by being a conduit for the energy. So that's how I was given that instruction, is be the open vessel to stand in the presence and honor this level of sacred indigenous knowledge right here that was slaughtered, that was dishonored, that was a huge 1111 cosmic no-no, that's basically crucifixion just here on our soil right there, and all the other millions of places that it has happened and continues to happen when we slaughter divine folks. And every single person has a spark of the divine. However, we are not all on the same line. We're not all on the same timeline. We're not doing the same work. We're not all working on our spiritual evolution. We're not all looking to raise our vibration. And 1144, and as vibrations are being sacrificed because they no longer serve, it is the choice of each individual person to get on their path and do what they need to do to get more consciously aware of what's really happening in that overlay of energy, that people don't see it, they don't want to believe it, they don't whatever. Okay, that's fine. However, the people that are beginning to kind of be willing, because I had no idea the amount of clearing. I felt horrible, honestly, going up that mountain. I was just, I just felt terrible. And most of that wasn't mine, didn't really have to do with so much with the driving thing. Yes, there was that component, and yes, that does bring up some anxiety. However, what it really was related to was, we can tap into that with you for you to begin to feel, know, and understand the intensity of the impending doom that those people in that vision that we're going to unbundle, those people, they could really just use someone, a human being, to be a conduit for the healing, to be an open vessel and a channel for that level of vibration. If I am really just self-serving, if I don't care, there's nothing altruistic about me, I'm selfish, I just don't give any consideration to anyone else or what's happened historically, I'm racist, I'm homophobic, whatever, I'm not 1313, I'm not willing to be open to anything except what I want, then I'm not really a good vessel. I'm not going to, I will not be able to contain or maintain or even invite in to have it really sustain for half a second that level of high vibrational intentional energy, to direct that towards a bundle of energy that I could help to move on and transmute and actually alchemize that stuff and free up that energy so that it can go on and do its work. If I'm really just dense, and I'm not talking intelligence dense, I'm talking third eye dense, a lot of people got a mad spot right there rather than their third eye, scratch that mad spot off, rub that and make it feel better for a second and get over it, decalcify that bugger, because we're a better channel when we are really open for that kind of business. And if we're not, we're out perpetrating on some level those kinds of crimes at whatever level we're doing it. But for those folks, those energy sources in the mountains that day, I had visions of family, tribe family, that I don't know them personally, they're in my lineage somewhere, but I saw faces of very specific people that were brother to me. One was a brother and one was a grandfather, and lots of men, warriors that were so shamed and so just humiliated and absolutely crucified in ways that I didn't see that stuff. I mean, just the mocking and spitting and very much that whole Jesus idea of, we know you're sacred, we know you do really great stuff, and we're murdering you because of that. And that was a lot to see. The pain of that was absolutely crushing and heartbreaking. 1515, it was absolutely heartbreaking to see that in my mind's eye. And thank you that I was not given full color high definition. I mostly perceived it, and then some of the more fine details filled in. But I did get glimpses of these men's faces, primarily men, that were just so bereft with the grief of their women being dishonored in the most horrific ways. And they watched that before they themselves watched their greatest leaders, ranking order all the way down to the least, was slaughtered in front of them. It was absolutely horrific, and it went by like that, thank goodness, because the key isn't to traumatize my psyche, it's to bring me to that field of this is where you are, to observe this stuff without getting stuck in the of it, get enough of a taste of that to know where you are, and then prep for the work that we're going to do. And that work involved a great deal of just being an open channel to say, how may I serve this situation? How may I bring healing and peace and harmony to this region, to this natural world right here that's so out of balance, and to every single human energy source that wore a body that was sacrificed here. How may I serve this to make this better? And that's when a whole lot of stuff happened that I do not remember. I know in the moment it was, wow, hella fast, and like, okay. It was the first time that I ever had an experience at that level like that. So, but oftentimes it's just kind of a CCTV experience where I'm in that moment, it moves, and there's not a recorded, film of it or video of it in my mind, because I'm not meant to retain that. I'm not meant to retain anything except enough to relate to you how horrific it is without getting into all the details, because people sometimes like all the grimy details, and we're not here for the grimy details. That's what took those people out, is people getting hung up in wrong places, being real concerned about stuff that that's not where it's at. So it's not to traumatize, it's to get here, get this field, this vibrational field, get there, and then let's lift this bugger right up. And their ascended masters above them, as well as the energy that was kind of clogged right there, they had shamans in there. They had Indian chiefs, but like shaman, war chiefs. I wanted to say that was where I met a Cheyenne war dog, but I think it wasn't. I think I met them somewhere else. I mean, there's a lot of very big stuff in this area that was just so dishonored. It was a trail of tears. Just out here, and it was everywhere, but it was not really documented the way that the Trail of Tears was elsewhere. So it was getting a taste or a flavor of that and going, oh God, and transmuting it in the way that I was given in that moment. It worked a lot with very big energies and beams of light that I was just asked to please channel that, please allow that to flow through you, because we need the organic body right here. We need that you, whomever, the worker, to be that organic source of willingness to hold the vision of healing and harmony, despite the fact that so much horror has taken place here. We have to have somebody that can see that, observe that, feel the intensity and the crushing of that, and then be able to rise above that with us helping you, Kate, rise above that to hold the consciousness of. And they have been restored 1919 to their full honor and dignity and respect. Their sacred has been fully restored, and they are released from whatever bondage was keeping them there, right there. Okay, now that is how that was explained. That is how that is when I go into different places that I oftentimes, not always, but I oftentimes will get, oh, that's something that's happened right here. That just happened to be the first one and the most profound for the intense agony and pain and suffering. And if there's anything about the New Age that I wish people understood, is that justice is not about exacting the same amount of pain on someone else that they caused me, or caused our group. Retribution is not where balance is. It just keeps that same ethic and that same vibrational field going. If I continue to come at that, if I'd stood there and just grieved and grieved and grieved and never saw the true honor and the sacred of all of those warrior chiefs and, oh, wow, amazing men and women of great honor that had been dishonored. Just because they had been dishonored, they were not stripped of their honor. They were stripped of their dignity here as a human being. However, they were not stripped of their sacred. They were not stripped of their God seed, of their universal energy, of all of that beautiful source. It was still there. It was a matter of, yeah, there it is. And we need to grieve that that was dishonored and see that, oh, it can't be taken away. There's no way that it can. And the best way that we really, really, really emphasize that, Kate, is to get in here and deal with that. Really, really emphasize that that is sacred. We're restoring that. And that the looks of peace in the faces that I could see. It was a large group, couldn't tell you how many, but just the agony, the look of agony of brothers and uncles and, male figures primarily, who were so shamed and dishonored, to see that look of relief, that, oh, the burden of that earth burden. We'd really like to, unload that. And they can do it on their own. The human body can heal itself on its own too. And sometimes it's just, a little bit faster if we go with something that's more supportive of really bringing in that healing in a more efficient way. So that area wasn't like I was the only one that could possibly, I'm a hero, I gotta save this. It's not about a save-a-ho. It's not that. That's not an ego thing. That is a matter of that I could do that work. Then that is, in my opinion, that is what the New Age is about, is that if I can do that work, then that is my work to do. And it's not codependent. There's nothing codependent about that exchange whatsoever. It's not demanding that something happen. It's being called to those places of healing and doing what needs to be done to bring respect and honor and dignity back to the moment, the time in history, the bloodline, the genealogy, the event, whatever it is. And I don't have to know all the details. Humans are so, we really want to know everything. And I've found that my spiritual journey has taken on a whole lot more ease of acceptance by just really get out of the details, Kate, because the details oftentimes aren't really as important until you get exactly where you're going, and then get real detailed right there, because if you need to know everything about all of it, we really could be just working that stuff right there where it best serves, rather than do a broad spectrum antibiotic on that. How about we get to fix the problem, the actual problem, the real one right there? Because 2323 just saying, well, there's an infection there. Yeah, and a broad spectrum antibiotic would probably get it eventually. However, if it's a particular bacteria, and it's really going to be best served and much faster, and the person will survive quicker, or actually survive, they'll have enough help to push it out faster than they might with the other, then why don't we go with that specialized tool, the one that's meant for that bacteria? And it's not like I'm a doctor that has to know all of that beforehand. That's the beauty of this, is that I'm given all of that right there. This is not on the job training exactly, except it's on the job display. It's on the job performance, I guess. It's right in the moment of, we're going to give this to you, how this particular treatment is going to work. It's mostly about practicing in the off times with listening to the subtle and not so subtle cues from nature and just the natural world. Things are speaking constantly, and leaving that channel open by not getting too involved with what, other people who are not interested in really moving into different consciousness, not getting involved with that, not getting involved with all of, the stuff that would keep me bound here, and yet staying acutely aware that when I'm asked to get very drawn back to here, then there's work to do here. There's a great balance between heaven and earth. We really in our balanced state, aren't going to be able to survive only in one or the other, because we're here on earth. And if we're, really wanting to be living in both, then we are living in both by being that sky bridge of communication between heaven and earth. And we keep one foot into the ascended realms while we keep, a toe on earth, or whatever, however you can understand it. But it is absolutely not about going in and assuming that in that area I felt anger. I felt, how dare you do something so horrific. I mean, I felt that wave of rage, indignation, and what the, oh my God, I wanted to go to war for that tribe. And it was almost just boost of, no, war is what brought us here, Kate. And no, that is not how you do that. It's okay you feel that way, and we respect the fact and thank you that you do understand the tragedy and the horror and the disrespect and dishonor and the big old cosmic boo-boo that was. Thank you. You've let us know that you understand the gravity of this situation. And now, the better part of the situation is that earth bullshit, we're going to clear that out of the way so that these energies that are very high vibrational, they just need they want a little help. They could do it on their own. Remember that broad spectrum antibiotic, it'll work eventually. It's just, let's free up people from their, stuff, from their imprisonment now. Why wait? Why just say, well, it'll get there eventually? I want people out of pain now. Anywhere where I can relieve suffering, that is, to me, the new age, is relieve suffering. And relieve my own everywhere, so that I can see very clearly and not get hooked into the pain parts of me trying to help the pain parts somewhere else. That doesn't work. That's called codependency and trauma and narcissism and all personality disorders, mental health issues, addictions, domestic violence, and war. It looks a whole lot like earth operations at the moment, and that's shifting and changing. So anyway, I hope that that's helpful and that you find yourself really enjoying your day, whatever part of the day you're in. And remember, get within your skin, because you're divine. It really is very, very fine, and you can be a conduit. You can be a conduit of whatever. You are a conduit of whatever energy you are. And if you wish to be a conduit for something that just 2727 feels better, then perhaps open up the mind to, how may I serve any situation to relieve the pain and suffering? And begin with your own, because really and truly, we do not meet the pain and suffering of someone else and truly help them if we are hooked in at the same level with them. Because there are times when relieving someone else's pain and suffering will look like, I gotta go. And it will look like that's not exactly, what I'm doing. That is not true necessarily. It is more true that if I, make a certain action and it looks out here, it's that is a slap a hand before you hold it situation where it is no longer appropriate. I didn't say, that I was given instruction to punch someone. I have been given instruction, though, to cut ties with people, just all of a sudden, just cut them. And I don't always know why until later. So it's about really, how may I serve me? How may I serve the collective of humanity? And most importantly, how may I serve Gaia, Mother Earth energy, to support her healing, as she is so lovingly supporting our healing, as the upper rooms, the upper realms and the upper chambers in heaven and all the dimensions, multi-dimensions, are also supporting Earth's healing and humanity's healing, despite the fact that there is a lizard collective roaming around, a devil collective. Those are all things that are very bound to controlling Earth. And those are consciousnesses and timelines and reality tunnels that exist because people have created them. Energetically at a minimum, and they've created enough fear around them. However, we're not required to loom around, in our consciousness. We're not required to loom around close to Earth, believing all the Earth stories and bullshit that scare us. If we're in fear, there's a problem. We need to ask why. What is that, and how do I fix that? Because our natural state of being, despite the fact that it's a lot of people's normal state of being, our natural state of being is not to be in a heightened sense of fear or hostility or anger or terror constantly. Now look around the room and see how many people are living in a state of constant fear and terror. That's a very unnatural place to be. However, it's become the norm for most of humanity, and it's time to relieve that suffering, because that just sucks. It's a terrible feeling. So anyhow, as I said, get within your skin and enjoy your day, but get within your skin, because you're divine. It is absolutely so fine. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you again next time. Goodbye, friends.